All right, we are live, and we will, as usual, wait a minute or two for people to start logging on. I am live, and also Red Pill is with us live. Big up,
Yes,
Red
yes.
Pill.
Big
Yeah,
up, big up.
yeah.
Peace.
What you got going on, bro?
Just working,
Hmm.
pouring water into multiple cups.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
You
man.
feel me? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you.
Working yeah, we've been working this musical project over the past few days. Um it's like entering into a new world, exploring the world of online marketing, um, just exploring the world of Web3. We've stepped over into the Web3 world, blockchain and whatnot, as
Hmm.
it pertains to the music. Videos. I had a video go viral the other day. Uh, so it's been a good learning experience. Working on my website, just adding features to that, calling radio stations around the world, pulling in favors from people that I know, activating that aspect. And
Hmm.
yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. I would just say, there's a lot. I've been getting a lot of, when they talk about payola and the amount of money that you got to pay people in order to be seen and heard in this
Yeah,
music game is disgusting. You know,
yeah. It's been
and
going on for
mhm.
decades, right?
I wish more people would talk about it. It's like it's such a sleight of the hand that on the left hand they say, What do you mean? This is all talent." And then on the right hand you get these emails and these inboxes, and everybody is demanding money. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Right.
when it comes to saving people, we don't ask for people to pay us. When it comes to, when we doing what we do over here, there is no payola, there is no shakedown, there is no hands in the pocket, there
Right.
is no greasing of the palms and whatnot. But
Right.
when you get into this music thing, it's a very dirty game, and it's really all about how many pockets can you grease. So we're not doing that. We're gonna do it organically. We have
Hmm.
trust in our audience. We went underground platinum 10 years ago,
Right.
so we should be going 10 times platinum right now.
Well, you're in a unique position because you've already built a platform and you
Yes.
already have what they call social proof by the fact that you already have, thousands of followers and listeners every day, every week to know the ledge and know the ledger. You've been doing this consistently, and nothing beats consistency, right? And then
No.
you're older too, so you're not like a young kid who's going to get swept away by the thoughts of being famous in exchange for
Right.
peanuts, right? So it's a little bit different that you've already built up your audience. So they kind of have to negotiate with you a lot differently than they do, different entities, man. So it'd be
Yes.
interesting to see how this thing works, you know?
Yes, it's more of a social experiment for me
Mhm.
now, along with a passion project.
Okay.
And it's exactly what you said. They're gonna have to deal with us a lot different, because we are coming for what is ours. You know what I'm saying? We're not doing this for fame, and we're not doing this for likes and pats on the head. We're doing this for monetary reasons, to set ourselves up. We're doing this for the publishing. We're doing this for the longevity play. So yeah, I'm bringing that energy. I'm gonna bring the same energy that I brought into other industries into this music thing, and we are going to disrupt. Make no mistake about it. This is the vehicle. The music project is the vehicle that we'll use to enter into the arena, but the idea is to disrupt and to change things around a bit, and to create a seat at the table, or create a table for us.
Yeah, nice. And I know this has been in the works for many years as a master plan. So I'm glad
Yes.
to see it, come into fruition. Just for the people tuning in, we're just giving people a few minutes to, you know,
Get
log
themselves
in,
logged in.
get
Yes.
comfortable. And Anthony Muhammad with Sankofa Revolutionary Radio will be tuning in as well. He's a little bit late because he's not in Alabama right now. He's actually in Miami. So hopefully he can make it to where I am to come get a tour of the mango orchard. So we'll see
Yes.
how that goes, man. But this is Health Mondays, Health Results Mondays. And today, last week we were going over the science of olive leaf extract. We got a little bit diverted in some of the conversation that we were having. Um, but we're getting right back on that today. And we're going to share testimonials from a nurse practitioner. And she'd contacted me some time ago, letting me know that she uses our product for her patients who have high blood pressure and diabetes. So I interviewed her and let her tell the story of how she works the product with her patients. So it's always good to see different perspectives. Those who are in allopathic medicine who are also using natural methods because they're seeing, no side effects that some of these, well, not some of these, all of these pharmaceuticals will tend to have. So it's good to hear from somebody who's actually in that medical field, grinding day to day, fighting the good fight with her hands tied in a lot of ways. And a lot of people who are dealing with, the official medical system have their hands tied in a lot of ways. I talk to them all the time. Yeah, sorry, y'all. The
Yeah.
internet down. No,
Okay.
YouTube did not pull it. Someone asked, "Did
Right.
YouTube pull it already?" No, my internet just went down momentarily. That's all that happened, y'all. I see people
Okay.
are still tuned in, so that's good.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
yeah. So what I was saying is that we are going to have uh, a conversation I had some time ago with a nurse practitioner. She's going to talk about the olive leaf extract, and I'm going to let me see. Take that down. I'm going to make sure that we are still live and everything is okay. Okay, yeah, we're still live. The red pill's been kicked off, but he'll be coming back on. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a screen with you all and go over what we're covering. Yeah, red pill, look like you got kicked off, but we're still here.
We're still
Uh,
here.
yeah, yeah. It keeps happening with Red Pill's channel. So we're going to find out what's going on. But without further ado, we're just going to still cover what we need to cover with the show because I know a lot of people were interested in the conversation last week. So the particular items that we're going to be talking about today is the Herbal Results olive leaf extract. It is going to be the super strength and the maximum strength product. So This is the flagship product that has gotten us a lot of results and a lot of health challenges. So we have here, we have the maximum strength, and then we have the super strength bottle. Okay, this is what the maximum strength bottle looks like. It says maximum strength olive leaf extract plus phytonutrients. And this is what the super strength looks like, y'all. Okay, right there. All right. And the question would be, what is the difference between the two products? Well, the maximum strength is stronger, right? And the maximum strength has plant material in it. And that's why we call it phytonutrients. So it's called phytonutrients because it has uh, plant material in it, and it's based on the way that we process it and the way that we make it. Our manufacturing techniques are different for each product. So the super strength product will not have any plant material in it, but the maximum strength product does have plant material in it, and you're just asked to shake it before you use it, or else the plant material will coagulate, right? Okay, so that's the key. So people who have any diseases that is putting you in the hospital, we recommend the maximum strength. If you have health conditions but it's not putting you in the hospital, then you can take the super strength product, which is cheaper, which is $40, whereas the maximum strength is $65. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to look at a testimonial that I think is very important. We have the science, right? So let's just go over a quick review of some scientific literature that everyone should get a chance to look at if you get a chance. So you want to look at this study here. So the study that you want to look at, and it looks like Red Pill, you keep getting kicked off. I don't know what's going on uh, with Red Pill getting on here, but we're going to try to keep connecting him. But for the people tuned in, we're going to continue with the show. So, um, National Library of Medicine, National Institute of Health. There's a study called All European in Olive and its pharmacological effects. All European is the active medicinal ingredient of olive leaf extract. So this is a comprehensive study on the pharmacological effects of the active ingredient. Okay, and this is the study that you really want to look at, right? And they break it down into a bunch of different categories and they go very deeply into the categories. Okay. So you want to be able to look at this right here. The present review focuses on recent works that have analyzed the relationship between the major phenolic compound European and its pharmacological activities, including antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, which is key, anti-atherogenic, which is essentially plaque in your arteries, and then anti-cancer activities, antimicrobial activities. That's the parasites, that's the viruses, that's the bacterial infections, that's the fungal infections. Antiviral activities and hypolipidemic and hypoglycemic effect. In other words, lowering of fat and lowering of blood sugar. Okay, so this compound does all of these things in one. Okay. And I see Brother Anthony's looking to get on. And for some reason, Red Pill keeps getting kicked off. And Brother Anthony's getting kicked off as well. So this is probably a StreamYard problem. And I'm not clear. I think we're having a StreamYard problem, Red Pill, why you keep getting kicked off. I don't know what's going on. Because Brother Anthony's looking to get on as well.
Yeah, there's
It's
something going on with
Yeah,
the
it's not
signal.
connecting it. But
It's knocking
I'll
my mic out.
Yeah, I'm gonna contact StreamYard and see what's going on. But we're just gonna
Yeah.
move forward with the show. But all your
Okay.
listeners are still maintained, even if you get kicked
Yes.
off. It looks like. And Brother Anthony is trying to tune in, get in as well. As soon as he gets in, we'll we'll have Anthony on. So this is the main study that you all want to go to, right? From National Institute of Health. Again, it goes over the antioxidant properties of the active ingredient of olive leaf extract, which is called All European, anti-inflammatory, anti-atherogenic, anti-cancer, antimicrobial, antiviral, hypolipidemic, which is lowering of fat, and lowering of blood sugar, hypoglycemic effect. Okay. And then when you go into this study, of course, it has the compounds and what these different compounds look like in terms of other anti-inflammatory compounds. You have European, you have quercetin, and what have you, right? It gives you the structure. So this is a very educational document that you can look at. But this is the
Mm.
chemical molecular structure of European. This structure has been able to give us all types of results in reversing illnesses. Just this compound that Mother Nature has made, this
Mm.
structure right here, has been responsible for all of the things that I named, which is lowering blood pressure, lowering blood sugar, lowering fat, lowering arterial blockage. Uh,
Wow.
it is this compound right here.
How did you come
Okay.
about discovering this compound
Okay. So
and its
that's a great,
properties?
yeah, that's a great question. So how I came about discovering olive leaf extract is that in 2011, I saw a documentary called Run from the Cure. Run from the Cure was I'm going to stop sharing this and we'll get right back to it, but that's a great question. So, Run from the Cure is a documentary they had on YouTube about Rick Simpson. And maybe
Yes.
they still have it. And it's a good documentary for people to watch because this is how I got started in the health field. Um, Run from the Cure was showing how Rick Simpson out of Canada was reversing cancer with cannabis oil. And here it
Yes.
should be Run from the Cure, Rick Simpson documentary. Yeah, here it is. I'm going to share it. This is the documentary that I
Thank
saw.
you. Thank you.
I'm going to share it with you all. This is how I got started. So if you go to YouTube, you search for Run from the Cure, you'll see it. You'll see Run from the Cure, Rick Simpson full story, Run from the Cure updated Rick Simpson story, second edition. And this is how I kind of decided to do what I do in terms of evidence. So from this documentary, you're going to see all types of people with stage 4 cancer who took cannabis oil giving their testimonials. Like this guy here,
Yes.
he had depression and anxiety. He took it. And then these people, melanoma, skin cancer, uh, all of these people here were people with cancer who were giving their testimonials. They were sent home to die, and they took the oil. This is Rick Simpson here. I'm going to show you Rick Simpson. That's him here. And
Okay.
he was making cannabis oil for people. And this is what the oil would look like. Um, it'd be like a black oil that's made from the hemp. See that?
Right.
And
The
so,
extraction.
yes. So what happened was that he teaches you how to do the extraction, and he was using paint thinner. The
Mm.
problem is that paint thinner itself can be toxic if you imbibe it, if you take it into your body. So if you don't boil all of the paint thinner off, you may have cancer, but then you're taking something toxic into
Right.
your body. And so it got me to study the property of plants to learn about solubility, finding out that cannabis is actually fat soluble. So I started doing extractions of cannabis with coconut oil because coconut oil is pretty much the healthiest fat that you can use.
Right.
So I used coconut when I was in the Caribbean at the time, which I was living in the Virgin Islands at the time, right? Big up
Plenty of
VI
coconut.
Massive. Yeah, man, big up VI Massive. And
Big
so
up.
there was no shortage of cannabis or coconut,
Right.
in the island. So I started doing my own extraction technique, and I was able to make a very potent coconut oil extraction of cannabis with cannabis oil. And I started giving lectures, man. And when I gave the lectures, you'll even see my lectures. So the lecture that I'll even search for it here. You all will see the lecture. Um, it's just put in my name and put in cannabis, Ofori-Atta cannabis, and you'll see the lecture. You'll see it here somewhere. It's an old lecture that I gave, but it is called the history. Let me see. It's called The Legal and Medicinal History of Cannabis Oil. So I used my you look at YouTube trying to ban some of these things or trying to shadow it. They're funny. YouTube is a funny, funny place, man. But if I go here, I should be able to find it. Go here, go to my videos. I probably go to some of my early videos. But I ended up giving lectures across the Caribbean and in the United States on cannabis and the legal history and the medicinal history. It should be here somewhere. I don't know why I can't find it. Maybe they took it down. I don't know. But essentially what happened, Red Pill, was is that when I would give these lectures, man, and showing like the science on cannabis oil and the endocannabinoid system, and the documentaries like Run from the Cure, a lot of people would come to me asking for cannabis oil, and they were desperate. I'm talking about really desperate, like people who've got their family members on their deathbed. And the problem was is that they'd asked me to ship it to them, and because it was federally legal as a Schedule One drug, it'd be illegal to do so. So I would show people how to make it, but people didn't want to make it on their own.
Right.
Uh, they wanted to buy it from me, and people were offering me a lot of money for it. And so, because of the legal problems, and then there are some other issues with cannabis oil. So, for instance, it makes people very high, right? So a lot of people can't handle the high, particularly if they've never had cannabis before. So you can imagine an 80-year-old grandmother with stage 4 cancer, and she's getting high for the first time, right? Some liked it because it lets you sleep, but you still it's a psychoactive effect that a lot of people, and you had to take pretty high dosages. You had to like dose yourself to like a gram a day, and the black oil that you just saw, that black oil is very potent. Like you could take a tip of a toothpick worth, and it would get you high for 24 hours, man.
Wow.
Yeah, and then so you have to dose yourself to like a gram per day, which is very very difficult for people to do.
Mm.
So that was a hurdle, and then because it was cannabis, it was quite expensive, and you need to basically be able to take the oil from a pound of cannabis to make enough oil for the full course treatment. And so it can be quite expensive to get a pound of cannabis. And so what I did was, because of the legal hurdles, Red Pill, the psychoactive hurdles, and also the monetary hurdles for people, um, I knew the principle that Mother Nature does not just strike once, that she strikes all over the place.
Right.
And so it's important to know that. It's important to know. So this is what's really important. It's important to know what is the mechanism of action that is the driving force of your disease. So usually it'll be inflammation. So your job is to, one, cut out inputs that are causing inflammation, which is the food. And then the second thing is to take anti-inflammatory herbs. So cannabis is anti-inflammatory. Well, your job then, if you're not going to use cannabis, is to look for another anti-inflammatory herb. And so I looked for, I just looked online at studies for plants that may be able to do the same thing around cancer that cannabis was doing, right? And it's really crazy because all this time they've been talking to you about cannabis and blah blah blah, but they never told you that the United States government has a patent on cannabinoids for medical purposes. Were you aware of that, Red Pill? You there, Red Pill? He may have gone out, or his mic might have gone out. But just for people to know, the United States government has a patent on cannabinoids. And I will show you all the patent very quickly so you all can see exactly what I'm talking about. Because sometimes I might mention things and people think that, oh, I'm exaggerating. So You just go U.S. patent on cannabinoids. Okay, it's 6630507. They cannot patent the plant, but they can patent the process of extracting the medicine. So you can see Google patents. You all should be able to see this, and you will see where it says cannabinoids as antioxidants and neuroprotectants. Remember, we saw that olive leaf extract is also an antioxidant, right? So cannabis and olive leaf extract are on antioxidants. I already told you it's anti-inflammatory, but you start to see a lot in common. But when you look at this patent that the United States government has on cannabis and cannabinoids per se, we realize that this patent was filed in 1999, April 21st, 1999, by who? The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Okay? So it's important that the United States government has known. It's important to see the United States government has known that cannabis is medicinal. They've known for a long time, and they even filed a patent for the cannabinoids and the extraction process of the cannabinoids. But when we look at the patent, let's look at what it says. So it says
Mhm.
United States Department of Health and Human Services was granted the patent in 2003. They filed it in 2001, and they were April 21st,
Mhm.
1999. Well, they filed a provisional one in April 21st. It was assigned. So it's from 1999 they filed it, the application. April
Right.
21st, 1999. In 2003, they were granted the patent. That's 4 years later. Okay? And the patent number is 6630507. Okay? So I always remember that patent number to show the hypocrisy.
Right.
And listen to what they say. This newfound property of cannabinoid makes cannabinoids useful in the treatment and prophylaxis of a wide variety of oxidation-associated diseases such as ischemic, age-related, inflammatory, and autoimmune diseases. The cannabinoids are found to have particular application as neuroprotectants, for example, in limiting neurological damage following ischemic insults such as stroke and trauma, or in the treatment of neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and HIV dementia. So the
Mm.
United States government has been aware of this, okay, to the fact that they filed a patent. And so I'm looking online and I'm saying, okay, they've got this information. I don't want to use cannabis because of the hurdles. What other plants? And we start looking at olive leaf extract. Okay. So I run across this study, Red Pill, to answer your question. This is the first study that I saw on olive leaf extract and cancer. It's this study right here. I'm about to share it with you all. You go to herbalresults.net, go to the science page, olive leaf extract science, you'll see all these studies. So we have the cancer section here,
Right.
olive leaf extract, cancer, and tumors. It was this study here that made me switch over to using olive leaf extract instead of cannabis. Oleuropein, a non-toxic olive iridoid, is an anti-tumor agent and cytoskeleton disruptor. You see that? You able to see
Mhm.
that, Red Pill?
I
Okay.
see it.
All right. And I'm just going to go further and show you something explosive. So this was a rodent study, but it's very important. Uh, Check this out. It says, when administered orally to mice that developed spontaneous tumors, oleuropein, which is the active ingredient of olive leaf extract, completely regressed tumors in 9 to 12 days.
Wow.
This is a week and a half.
Right. Wow.
When tumors were resected, in other words, they cut out the tumors from the body, prior to complete regression, they lacked cohesiveness and had a crumbly consistency. No viable cells could be recovered from these tumors. These observations elevate oleuropein, the active ingredient of olive leaf extract, from a non toxic antioxidant. So at first they just thought it's just an antioxidant and it's non toxic, so that's great. But they're saying that these observations of the fact that these tumors had regressed between 9 and 12 days, and when you resected the tumors, they had no consistency. They were basically crumbling apart. We are going to elevate it from a non-toxic antioxidant into a potent anti-tumor agent with direct effects against tumor cells. Okay? And it says our data may also explain the cancer protective effects of the olive rich Mediterranean diet. Boom. So I saw that and I said, okay, this probably could be used for cancer. And then I do further research on the plant and I find out not only does it has all these studies on cancer, as we're dealing with cancer, we have studies on high blood pressure. So I'm going to share that with you all. I'll just share one by one, and then we'll go over the nurse practitioner and what she has to say. Um, so when you go to olive leaf extract science on herbalresults.net, again, I lay out all the science so that people can actually look at it. And you don't really have to ask me any questions because I've done all the work for you already. All you have to do is just go to the website and get the information. So here's olive leaf extract and blood pressure. The first study that we have is a study where they gave a group of two groups of people olive leaf extract effective in patients with stage 1 hypertension comparison with captopril. Captopril is an ACE inhibitor, right? It's a pharmaceutical. And what they did was they did a double blind, randomized, parallel, and active control clinical study where they took half the group on an 8-week treatment, okay, 4-week continued subsequently by an 8-week treatment period, okay? And they gave one group olive leaf extract and they gave the other group captopril, okay?
Right.
And here's what they found out. They found out that the group that was taking the olive leaf extract, this is what they say. Number one, there was a significant reduction in triglyceride levels was observed in the olive group, but not the captopril group. So what it did was it lowered triglycerides, right? And we'll talk about that in a second, but I just want to get through this for everyone. It did not lower, the captopril did not lower triglycerides, right? So that group, they had a lowering of blood pressure, but not a lowering of triglycerides, whereas the olive group had a lowering of the blood pressure and a lowering of triglycerides. And it says here, in conclusion, olive leaf extract at the dosage regimen of 500 milligrams twice daily was similarly effective in lowering systolic and diastolic blood pressures in subjects with stage 1 hypertension as captopril, given at its effective dosage of 12.5 to 25 milligrams daily. So what they're saying was that the olive leaf extract worked just as well as the captopril in this study. But in this case, the captopril did not lower triglycerides. Okay? But the olive leaf extract did, right? And then when you look at the side effects of captopril, they're very concerning, right? And olive leaf extract doesn't have those side effects, right? So this study made me very happy. It's like, oh, not only does this have an effect for cancer, it's having an effect for high blood pressure. Okay? And so then I said, okay, it's working for high blood pressure and cancer. What does it do for diabetes? And then I looked at diabetes and I see these studies here. So then you click this. This is another study from the National Institute of Health. Olive leaf extract as a hypoglycemic agent in both human diabetic subjects and in rats. So it worked in rats and humans in lowering blood sugar. That's what hypoglycemic means. Glyce just means sugar, hypo means lowering. Okay? And in this study, it says very clearly that the levels that olive leaf extract was very effective in lowering people's blood sugar versus the placebo. It says right here. Okay? It improved glucose homeostasis in adults with type 2 diabetes, right? And it talks about the trial. 79 adults with type 2 diabetes were randomized to treatment with 500 milligrams of olive leaf extract. And this is the powder form, right, in a capsule. And we have a stronger version because ours is liquid. right? Liquid has a 98% absorption rate, whereas powder solids and capsules and tabs have a 10% absorption, right? So it was a 14-week study, and they measured glucose homeostasis, including the H1, the A1C, and plasma insulin, right? And this is what they found out. They said in the randomized clinical trial, the subjects treated with olive leaf extract exhibited significantly lower A1C and fasting plasma insulin levels. Okay? It says in the animal models, you see the same thing too. Okay? And so what we're seeing is it says here olive leaf extract is associated with improved glucose homeostasis in human beings. Animal models indicate that this may be facilitated through the reduction of starch digestion and absorption. Olive leaf extract it says right here, olive leaf extract may represent an effective adjunct therapy that normalizes glucose homeostasis in individuals with diabetes. Boom.
Boom.
Okay? So I'm seeing this red pill. And I'm saying, okay, we've got cancer, we've got diabetes, we've got high blood pressure. What else we
Right.
got with this thing? Well, we've got viruses, bacteria, and fungal infections. So we have studies here that it kills all of these types of infections. Okay,
Right.
we even have studies on HIV in olive leaf extract that it has anti-HIV activity. Look at that right here.
Wow.
Okay, this is all from the National Library of Medicine, National Institute. Anti-HIV activity of olive leaf extract and modulation of host cell gene expression by HIV-1 infection and OLE treatment. Okay, everyone should just take time and read this. And as a matter of fact, we've had two customers who've come out who were negative that who were positive that came out negative from taking the olive leaf extract for 3 months. One of them is actually a well-known singer, uh, but
Right.
he will not do a testimonial
Right.
because he likes to maintain his privacy. So it's hard to get testimonials on HIV reversals because a lot of people don't want the stigma attached to them. But you could just read the study. Anyone who has the infection, just go ahead and read the study. Anti-HIV activity of olive. And so then I'm saying, oh, okay, we've got studies on HIV and olive leaf extract. We've got studies on bacterial infections, um, fungal infections. Check this out. In vitro antimicrobial activity of olive leaves. Okay, they talked about candida. A lot of people have candida infections.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, candida was killed. Okay, E. coli was killed. Look at this. It says scanning electron microscopic observations of Candida albicans exposed to 40% olive leaf extract showed invaginated and amorphous cells, E. coli cells subjected to a similar treatment but exposed only with 0.6% of weight to volume olive leaf extract showed complete destruction.
Wow.
Okay, these findings suggest an antimicrobial potential for olive leaves. This is very important for people to really look at. That it just showed that it kills candida, it killed E. coli completely. Complete
Right.
destruction. This is not like halfway, it shows complete destruction.
Wipeout.
Yes. Okay. So I'm saying, damn, this is a powerful plant. So by that time, I had learned how to extract medicine from plants very, very well, y'all.
What was
Um,
your level of excitement or enthusiasm? I'm wondering as each time you were
yeah.
going through this research and, proverbially knocking down these walls.
I was very excited. So there's different levels of evidence, right? The first level
Yes.
of evidence that you want to really see is you want to see some scientific studies, right?
Yes. Yes.
And then the next level of evidence is that you have people who took the product and it's worked for them in eradicating their problem. And the highest level of evidence is you took the product and it worked for you. Okay.
Mm.
Now,
Right.
so here's the deal. I have had eczema behind my ears for over 20 years.
Right.
And I took the olive leaf extract when I first started experimenting with it. I gave it to myself first. Every good scientist should make themselves the guinea pig of their own scientific product first,
Right. The test
right?
subject.
Yes. So I made myself a test subject because if I'm going to give this to other people, I should have taken it first. So I took my own olive leaf extract that I made because by that time, remember, I learned how to extract medicine from cannabis very well using my own technique of coconut oil. So by that time, I understood the solubility of plants, I understood extraction processes, and I developed my own that made it very potent. That's why the Herbal Results olive leaf extract is stronger than anything else in the market because of the I actually did the extraction with my own hands. So I didn't hire a company to do the extraction for me. I did it myself. And then when I get it manufactured, I have the manufacturer follow my steps of extraction. That's why our product is very unique. So I took it and it got rid of my eczema that I had for over 20 years. And then I noticed that it also got rid of my asthma. So I had very bad asthma since I was born. It's an athletic asthma. So anytime I would exert myself, if I have not exercised or exerted myself in some time, if I try to run, play basketball, whatever, I feel like I'm about to die in terms of breathing. It's
Right.
happened all my life, and I have to get over that hill where my body gets used to the physical exertion. Well, all my life I had to work my way out of that, with no anything, just have to keep doing it. And then, after a while, your body, your lungs are able to take the physical exertion. But if I take a break from running or playing sports for like a month,
Right.
all of a sudden it comes back. Anything I try to do in terms of activity, aerobic activity, my lungs will get filled with like fluid, and it'll be very difficult for me to breathe. And it's been like that all my life. Well, I took the olive leaf extract, and then I was able to run and do things without that happening at all. So I got rid of my asthma. Okay, so when I saw that it got rid of my asthma and it got rid of my eczema, I said, okay, this worked for me very well. Then I had friends in the Virgin Islands who had high blood pressure and diabetes, and I just gave it to them, and it reversed their high blood pressure and their numbers went down dramatically within 48 hours. So I know that this thing worked. So I began selling it at a farmer's market uh, in the west side of St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, called Bordeaux. Anybody from Virgin Islands knows about Bordeaux. And so I was selling it out of my car. And then I was doing it for a couple months, and I got a phone call from a gentleman. I always tell this story, but it's worth telling a million times. I'm going to share this so you can see how everything came full circle. Um, so, Red Pill, to fully answer your question, you all should be able to see the testimonials page on Herbal Results. Yes.
Yes.
So, this gentleman called me right here. This gentleman here, Dr. Charles Harrigan, right? We can just, this is the YouTube video right here. Dr. Charles Harrigan called me, and he he said, this is
They
him
called
here.
had gone.
He said, "Are you the guy who makes the olive leaf extract?" I said, "Yes." He said, I'd like to thank you for saving my life." I said, "What happened?" He said, "Well, I had prostate cancer, and I took your olive leaf extract, and now I no longer have it. And anything you need from me, let me know. I'm indebted to you. I'm very grateful for your product and what you've done." And I
Right.
said, "Well, I need a testimonial from you. I need a video testimonial, you telling your story, because a lot of people are going to have a hard time believing this story." He says, "When do you want to do it?" And I said to him, "Are you free this afternoon?" He said, "Yeah." So
That's right.
that day, he came to Bordeaux where I sell the product, and he got a chair, You see the ocean right there behind them?
Hmm.
Yeah, that's the Virgin
Beautiful,
Islands.
beautiful
Yep.
backdrop.
And so you just pulled up a chair. I put on my camera, and we got our first cancer reversal testimonial. And that was 9 years ago, brethren. See that?
Wow.
Okay. And this is our very first testimonial. His PSA went from 5.9 to 0.45. When he was urinating, he was urinating blood, and he was
Yikes.
bedridden. That's how bad he
Yikes.
was. And within 2 weeks, all his symptoms went away. And within 2 months, his cancer was gone. And this is the only thing he took was the olive leaf extract. Okay. And then, my brother, 2 months after him, this woman here calls me on the phone, Velma Samuel. And she says the same thing. Are you the guy who makes the olive leaf extract? Yes. Thank you for saving my life. I had a
I'm the
breast
mama.
tumor.
Mm,
And anything you need, let me know. I said, can you do can you do a testimonial? And
right.
she said, yes, I will. So we met at the beach. So here we are at the beach. It's called Brewers Beach in St. Thomas. And we did the video testimonial of how her breast tumor completely disappeared by taking the olive leaf extract. So she tells her story. You know what I'm saying? This is before Zoom and all of that. So I had to physically, be present to interview folks. So this is not me doing it online like how I do it now, where I can interview people from all over the world. At the time, there was Skype. Probably could have done it on Skype, but it was nice because, it was a small island and so it's easy to meet up. So we met up. I put my camera on and recorded her, and she told her story. And so I knew that we had something big with this olive leaf extract. You see, she's holding it in her hand and she tells her story. And I would just tell anyone, do yourself a favor, man, and go to herbalresults.net and just spend some time watching these beautiful
Testimonials.
testimonials.
Beautiful testimonials.
Yeah, just spend some time with it, man. Just watch these testimonials because these testimonials, they're changing everything. They're changing the narrative, man. And we're doing this work one by one. Like I told you all, I have a stage 4 prostate cancer reversal video that I'll be recording this week. And this brother's story is a fascinating story how we were able to crack the code on this one. Um, it's a brother out of Trinidad who lives in New Jersey contacted me. We've been working for a year, and his PSA was as high as 46, and now it's non-detectable. It's below zero point 0.1, and he's going to tell his story. But please, people just go to herbalresults.net, go to the testimonials tab. You and your family should sit down. This is must see TV. You see all these cancer reversals. You're going to see high blood pressure, diabetes reversals. You're going to see other illness with epileptic seizures, psoriasis, and all of that. We've got more and more coming. Every couple of weeks, we're recording more. So just people take some time, man, and look at this very seriously. Now, what I was going to play today, the Red Pill Adams asked a very good question. I was going to play this video today, but the hour is almost up. And brother Anthony's not on, so I want to kind of keep the show to an hour today. But this is just the homework for the listeners, man. You got family members, you yourself, you either got high blood pressure, diabetes, or cancer, or kidney failure. Just take some time and watch the testimonials on this page. You ain't got to email me a million questions because the people telling you their stories are going to answer all of your questions because they no longer have these diseases and they used our protocol and our products at Herbal Results. And all you got to do is press play and you're going to find out exactly what to do. And this is the video that we were going to play today. We're going to play this video. I'll play a little bit of it.
With Herbal Results, and we are
I'll
here
speed it up a
with a
little bit.
sister that I have met for the first time, but we've known each other through social media, and we started doing some inbox conversations. And I thought it would be good if we captured the conversation on video, just so we with this library of great results with olive leaf extract and people going through healing. So why don't we just allow this young lady to introduce herself and just talk about your name, your age, your background, what you do professionally, and then we can just move on from there.
Okay. So I am Dr. Faison. I'm a doctoral prepared nurse practitioner. I have been practicing for 22 years. My certification is in family practice. Um, of course, in family practice, we deal with the same things, the majors, hypertension, diabetes, high cholesterol, all those things that can largely be managed through lifestyle practices. But somehow we often find ourselves on the other side where we're needing to manage these things, medications, or well, at least under the allopathic model, we find ourselves managing those things with medications. Um, I would say I first started using olive leaf extract back in 2015. I do not remember how I came across the product. Um,
You talking about the
although
herbal results?
Herbal Results, your product.
Mhm.
I've stuck with it. Um, I probably can say that I ventured off one time to get some of the olive leaf extract because your Herbal Results is in such demand. Sometimes we can't get it, but the quality of Herbal Results olive leaf extract is unmatched. So I think probably most of my life I have embraced alternative medicine, although I practice um, under allopathic model, but I've always embraced more traditional approaches to managing my health for myself. So it's been a journey for me
Mhm.
in incorporating and investigating, products or substance supplements, I should say, that work best for me to manage my health. Now, for me, there is a family history of high blood pressure, diabetes, and so that was always on my radar to make sure I'm paying attention to those risk factors and the numbers. We pay attention to numbers, and so that's how I got started on that.
Okay.
Just to
Were you having any of those issues yourself?
When I first started, no. Maybe a few years later, as my stressors have gone up and down, I have had some challenges with my blood pressure being elevated, and probably more recently I have. And one of the issues for me has been consistency, especially when I did not have an issue. For
Mhm.
example, with my blood pressure, um, my results with Herbal Results olive leaf extract it's always been immediate and sustainable. So there were times when I find I would have taken the extract for a short period and my blood pressure was normal, even sometimes leaning towards the low side. And
Mhm.
so I would back up. And then
Mhm.
when I see my numbers creeping up again, then I pick it up again. And so
What's your
that's what's
highest numbers
happening.
then?
What's the highest?
Yeah, the highest blood pressure numbers you've ever had.
Between systolic between 150 and 160, which is a scary thing for me
Okay.
when I'm used to being in the 110s to 120s. And
Okay.
so I know there's something going on, stress related, lifestyle related, when my numbers get beyond the 120s. When I'm even in the 130s, then I'm paying attention.
Okay.
So of recent, a lot of things going on, a lot of changes, in this healthcare environment. We're dealing. People are sicker. I'll just say it that way. So we're dealing with a lot, and so I actually was presented with what I would call an hypertensive emergency. So being at that systolic 150, that's an emergency for me.
Mhm.
Um, and in that moment, I did go on to a medication, probably some element of fear
Mhm.
and wanting immediate results. And then I remembered, wait a minute, you have olive leaf, and so hence me reaching out to you.
Right.
What 2 days ago?
Yeah.
I always try to keep one bottle on hand. So I do have one bottle already, but I always like to have my backup. And so I was traveling, and as soon as I got home yesterday evening, I took a dose of the olive leaf, and both systolic and diastolic, which is top and bottom number, down 10 points within the hour. So I always see immediate results for myself. Now, in dealing with patients, um, it's always been an informal recommendation. In the allopathic world, we like to be able to point to studies, what have you. And sometimes I don't want to deal with all of that. Um, my approach has been, or my experience has been that when somebody is ready and engaged with their health or
Mhm.
managing their health, then
Mhm.
it's not a fight. It's not this push and pull.
Right.
The recommendations have been received very well, and so there are two people in particular that come to mind. Two women, probably in their 60s, who one newly diagnosed diabetic. I told her, I said, go ahead and get started on the Herbal Results. I sent her the link so she wouldn't have to look for it. I told her, go ahead and get started with the Herbal Results olive leaf extract, and she did. You know, in the allopathic world, you know, one of the initial medications we use is metformin. They had already started her on metformin. Her initial hemoglobin A1C, which is that 3-month average number, was over 10. Well, she started the Herbal Results olive leaf extract, and after 6 months, her hemoglobin A1C was below 5, and she was able to come off the metformin. Another woman that I came into contact in a class, in a vegetarian food preparation class, I'm sure you know him, Baba Dana Denard.
Yeah, yeah.
We were in the class and just talking like we do. And she was talking about having such a difficult time with managing both her blood pressure and the diabetes. And of course, right away, what came to my mind was Herbal Results. And, you know, we met every 2 weeks with this class. And within that 2-week time period, she said she had been back to her doctor. The doctor said to her, I don't know what you're doing, but your numbers have improved significantly. Continue. So I've seen this happen. I've seen this play out over and over again, specifically with high blood pressure and diabetes. And, you know, I think that it's such a good result because those two specific disease processes kind of impact the body in similar ways in terms of the stressors on the adrenal glands, on the liver. And we've seen how the bitters, how they impact the overall liver health. And so that's one of the things people don't talk about when you're talking about diabetes. Somewhat you hear the impact of stress with high blood pressure, but you don't hear it so much when you start talking about diabetes. And it really is a component of that.
Yeah, so what I found, and the reason why the olive leaf extract not only works for, and you know, what's really good is because you're a doctor and you're seeing these things in real time. You're seeing it with yourself. You're seeing it with people around you. And what really most people are suffering from is metabolic syndrome, right? And this metabolic syndrome is also has a root marker based on inflammation. So what the olive leaf extract really does simply is that it reverses the inflammatory response. And what's going on with people is that, so for instance, with hypertension, that's just inflammation of the arterial walls. Then you've got the issue of diabetes, which is really just insulin resistance. Now, the thing is that the hypertension can also be a result of insulin resistance too, because metabolic syndrome is always coupled with insulin resistance. People are eating too much, and they're eating too much refined carbohydrates, which is causing a, you know, they have high glycemic indexes in these foods, these processed foods, which is then causing an insulin outpouring in the body, which then creates insulin resistance because it's just insulin always being triggered. And that's what metformin does, is that it creates insulin sensitivity. But the problem with metformin is one form of metformin was recalled a few years ago for causing cancer. And then the other problem with metformin is that if you look at the side effects of metformin, the first side effect listed is death. Like literally, when you go to drugs.com, metformin side effect, the first side effect is death, and it's coming from lactic acidosis. So, you know, you're actually one of the rare doctors and medical practitioners who will give people an alternative from pharmaceuticals, right? You see people and you say, hey, try this. It's something that most doctors don't do because one, most doctors don't study plant medicine and they don't study nutrition, right? They don't study nutrition, but I think more and more those of us who are watching the results and seeing that, as you said, very, very, very poignantly and articulately, hope people didn't miss it, people are getting sicker. People are getting sicker. I mean, you know, my email is full. My phone is ringing off the hook because people
post-COVID world.
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing things that, you know, we can't explain it. We've never seen it before. And we're throwing all kinds of medications, and it's just not working. It's not working.
No, it's not working at all. And it's like, you know, what's the definition? One of the definitions of insanity is doing the same things, expecting different results.
Different results, yes.
Yeah, and things are just getting worse. I mean, the CDC, more people dying from hypertension, more people dying from heart disease, more people dying from cancer. And then the cancer, what's going on, I'm sure you've seen it, is you've got these turbo cancers going on now, being diagnosed with cancer and dying within 2 months, right?
Yes.
Because their immune
sometimes even sooner.
Yeah, because their immune systems are shot. And
right.
So, you know, one of the things that we do is that I'm not really that interested in selling products, even though we make products. What I'm most interested in is people learning, people becoming like you, basically, right? Everyone should become a practitioner. Everyone has a body. Everyone should learn how to heal themselves. And everybody should look at, and the crazy thing is that you talked about the scientific studies. The National Institute of Health website is replete with studies on things like olive leaf extract and how it reverses high blood pressure. I mean, I have one study on the website. Whenever you have time, you might be interested to look at it. It compares hypertension, stage 1 hypertension, and it separates people in two groups. One cohort is captopril. They take captopril,
Okay.
ACE inhibitor, like lisinopril,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
the other cohort took olive leaf extract. What they found out was that the olive leaf extract reversed the hypertension just as well as captopril, but also lowered cholesterol while it was doing it, while
Yes.
the captopril did not. And then we find out that there's a study from the American Heart Association that ACE inhibitors, like captopril, lisinopril, all of those things that end with pril, they're actually responsible for acute renal failure.
Yes.
The studies are out there. They're clear. I mean, it's very clear that it's out there. So on one hand, as you said, when you talk about the allopathic thing, the allopathic doctors are trained to give people lisinopril, which is not going to affect their cholesterol levels in a positive way, and it's not going to really save them from their kidneys, right? Fairly.
That's
It's
right.
actually going to
That's
cause
right.
renal failure. So on one hand, and then it costs a lot of money because these are patented drugs. And then you have that's natural on the other hand, which is going to lower your blood pressure just as well as lisinopril, but it will not cause acute renal failure. It will actually help build up and protect your kidneys, and it will lower your cholesterol. So in a perfect world, between those two choices, all doctors should be choosing the choice that gives the least amount of harm.
So here's the distinction. You can't ask, someone to do that which they're not trained to do. And you pointed that out. They're not trained, or the allopathic model is not training in plant medicine. And so, I have, so one of the hardest things that we deal with patients is getting people to engage and take ownership of their own health. When I get those arguments from patients, by the time they get to me, they say, oh, I'm going to all these doctors and nobody's doing anything to me, or I'm not getting the results I want. So, and I say, well, what's the goal? What are you trying to achieve? And once you realize and you understand what it is you're moving towards, or what health means to that person, then who is it you're going to? If you're going to allopathic doctor, then that model is to put you on the pill. If you're looking for a different result, then that's not who you go to. That's not who you go to. Also, again, back to getting people to engage. It's to doing the reading, to be in tune with the self, to know how do I react or respond to this particular thing, whether it be food or medication. That there's a process to that, and to get people to do that, that's one of the to get people just to be active. It's a struggle. It's a struggle.
Yeah.
But but on the other hand, I see these 90-year-old active, agile people. And, and anytime I come across any of them, I say, wow, you're the poster for what healthy living is. But it's a struggle to get the average person to engage on that level.
Right. And so what state are you operating out of?
I'm in Georgia.
Okay, so you're in Georgia. So
I'm in Georgia, but I'm licensed in 9 states.
Okay, so let's talk about you and your background. What got you interested in health and studying health?
It was what I always wanted to do from a little girl. I made that decision as a child that I wanted to be a doctor. My path was slightly different. I did not go to medical school, so my doctoral degree is not MD. It's a clinical doctorate for nurse practitioners, and so I just took a different route. But I've always been interested in health and healing, probably more so healing. But the easiest way, or my understanding of what healing and health was as a child, was the allopathic model.
Sure. And so, like, what are you seeing these days? Like, we talked about it briefly, but let's just talk about. I want people to understand this because you're in the thick of it, and I consider you to be a frontline person, right? What are you seeing? What are you seeing in this? Like, what's on an average day? What are you seeing in terms of people walking through the door?
Well, this respiratory stuff. Many people are not talking about the ongoing transmission with COVID, as well as respiratory airborne illnesses, but huge, especially in this region. I don't like to think of myself as a conspiracy theorist, but I'm just convinced there's something in the air, beyond this prolonged season of pollen. So first and foremost, it's all the respiratory stuff. We're seeing heart issues related to post-respiratory illnesses. Those are the big ones. But and when you talk about the chronic illnesses, that's always there. The hypertension, the diabetes, the cholesterol issues, the kidney disease. That's probably 80 to 90% of what we see.
Right. The
regularly.
Yeah, the metabolic disorders, right?
Say that again.
Metabolic disorders.
Metabolic disorders, absolutely. Yes.
So
absolutely. 80 to 90%.
80, 90%, right? That would be
80 to 90%.
Basically hypertension, diabetes, autoimmune illnesses, cancer, basically, right?
Right. And like you said, much rooted in chronic inflammation. It's ongoing across the board.
Absolutely.
Ongoing.
And so, if it was up to you, what changes would you make in the medical system, the allopathic medical system?
So it has to be systemic. And one of those systemic things that have to change is around dietary measures and access. So when I'm talking to a patient, let's take somebody who's been diagnosed with diabetes, and I'm trying to get them to eat more whole, nutritionally dense foods. Well, if they can't afford it, what am I saying to this person? If that person lives in a food desert, what am I saying? I'm just talking.
Right.
It's just lip service. So it would definitely be access to foods, to healthy, nutrient dense foods. That would be one of the first things.
Right.
One of the very first things.
Right.
A couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to go to Cuba with the medical group. And one of the things that they have in Cuba, they call them neighborhood medical clinics. And the design of it, or the model, is where you have a doctor, a nurse assigned to communities. So they actually live in the communities of the patients that they serve. So they're very in touch with and aware of what the issues are in that community. And, part of the Cuban health system is, you get, everything is structured. Let's say it that way. The dietary allotments is structured. So when it comes to health maintenance, you don't get a choice around that in that health model. If you don't show up for those appointments, then that doctor's going to come to your house because they're right there. So they're very aware of what's happening, what the needs are. They're very in tune with the pulse, if you will, of the patients or the people in those communities. And so I think with our model, the Western model, is so disjointed. Like, we have what we call evidence-based practices. We know when it comes to many things, how to manage it, how to minimize the issues related to it, but it's disjointed. There's no ongoing, the foundation of it is the support is not there. And so it makes sense when I give you the example around food, for example.
Right.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Let me do something real quick. I'm going to pause this real quick just to check my power source. I'll be right back. Give me 30 seconds. All right, yeah, let's pick up what you were saying. You were saying we're going to pick up from there. You were talking about it's disjointed.
It's disjointed. Yes, it is. Again, we like to use this term nowadays, evidence-based practice. And so the evidence is there. And so, the lifestyles we lead, it's just, it's almost like you're set up to be in the chronic state of inflammation with the high cortisol levels. It's almost unavoidable because of the lifestyles.
Absolutely. And people aren't.
And I'm talking about myself too.
Yeah, it is all of us. That's why I spend so much time outdoors these days, because the whole vitamin D thing is a big piece. And I'm so flabbergasted that I have all these people calling me with cancer or different types of illnesses, and I always ask them, "What's your vitamin D level?"
Right.
I don't know. I said, "So you just got out the hospital? They didn't run a vitamin D panel on you?" Nope.
No, that's not a normal test. This is expensive. Now, remember part of this machine, you have the insurance company, third-party players, and then you got the pharmaceutical companies too.
Yep. And they're overbilling people. They're completely overbilling people, because you could take a home-based You could take a home-based vitamin D test for $35.
Wow.
You know, you
Yeah.
can get it off at Amazon, but when you go to the hospital now, all of a sudden, it's like airport, right? At the airport, you're paying $8 for a bottle of water. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So you go to the
Right. The
hospital,
markup.
they're marking you up crazy at the hospital. But these vitamin D panels that are missing from people's health analysis is, to me, one of the biggest forms of malpractice, because they know, I mean, look at what you said, respiratory illnesses. They know that vitamin D is actually responsible for how inflammation is handled in the respiratory walls. Like, it's
Yes.
actually one of the main things. And most of, I say it over and over again, and especially when it comes to people with darker skin,
Hmm.
most of us are walking around, particularly North America during the winter, we're walking around with vitamin D levels under 20,
Right.
which is literally,
And-
and I say to people, it's like walking around with AIDS,
right.
because you're just subject to opportunistic infections.
And it's so surprising, those of us who live in the warmer climates, that we generally tend to be outside more,
Hmm.
but the levels are still low.
They're still low. They're definitely not. They're not high enough, and we definitely aren't outside the way our ancestors used to be outside.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We
You know,
tend to be outside more, but definitely not enough because
no,
we're doing all the other stuff.
right. Other stuff that's not even important in terms of our health, right? In terms of
Yes.
our health. And I mean, we're a tropical people, so we need to be in tropical environments, and it affects,
Right.
I always point to a study that came out of Sweden
Hmm.
during COVID, and a lot of people who were dying from COVID in Sweden were Somali refugees. And they have a very liberal policy in Sweden on
Hmm.
refugees. So they had like whole apartment buildings, like what they call projects, for all of these
Okay.
Somali refugees. And within 2 years, they had the worst health outcomes than any other group in Sweden.
I
And
believe that.
during the pandemic, they suffered the most. And what they found out was that all of them who suffered were vitamin D deficient. They had
Hmm.
D levels under 20. And when they were in Africa, when they were, by the equator, their vitamin D levels were much higher. And these are outdoor
Right.
people that you've now thrust into a winter environment. They're
Right.
indoors all the time, and they're just getting sick because they get no exposure to the sun.
To the
And
sun.
sun exposure is free. It's free. And no one make money off
Yes.
of that. I mean, during the winter,
Right.
you take vitamin D supplements, but the supplements are very cheap. We make it at Herbal Results. We sell it for $20. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It'll last you a month. So it's like um, we live in a world, in a society that does not equip us with the proper information to save ourselves.
Right.
You know,
But who's responsible? But whose responsibility does it become?
it
The
becomes
self.
ours.
The
Yes,
self.
self. It becomes self.
You
And that's
know.
why like voices like yours is important, because it's not like you're not talking from like hunches. It's not like it's not you have a hunch, or like you think this. This is what you see every single
Mhm.
day. I mean, that's another way to really interpret in evidence-based medicine. We have that
Yes.
that what they're doing
Yes.
ain't working. We
Right.
got that evidence. You see it every single day,
Right.
which made you want to
Yes.
think about
Absolutely.
alternatives.
For the past several years, so this is one of those areas where I always say I don't need to be right about everything, and this is one of those things where I want to be wrong about, but it hasn't shown to be so. And unfortunately, what we're seeing around the world is that health is now becoming a thing of the elite,
Hmm.
and it's an unfortunate thing, but that's the trend.
Right, right. Because they also know, a lot of them know that a lot of it is based on diet, lifestyle,
They have
nutrition.
access. That's
Yeah, then
right.
they have access to all of these things. And then a lot of these, you have a lot of doctors. I talk to a lot of doctors who are defecting themselves. They're
Hmm.
defecting from the allopathic methodology because they're seeing that allopathic methodology is just a rotating wheel for just pharmaceutical prescriptions. And
Hmm.
they're not seeing the results. Some of them were very serious about being doctors and nurses and actually helping people. And they're seeing that they're actually
Right.
hurting more than they're helping. And I've got so many stories, like heartbreaking stories, but I think it hits home when you have somebody who you love and they're going through the system and they're not getting better. Not only they're not getting better, they're getting worse. They're getting put on more medications to deal with the
Right.
effects from the original medications. I mean, you see
Right.
this all the time.
Right.
So you're saying that basically you would like to see something like what they have in Cuba, where you have a more integrated approach where the doctors are embedded in the communities. They become
Hmm.
community. And then that, that
Hmm.
also that also gives a certain level of accountability, right?
Yeah. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And under the Cuban system, you don't get the choice of whether you want to engage or not. You
Right.
know, so like for example, when Obamacare rolled out, everybody was covered under insurance. Everybody was covered, but that didn't mean that because people had insurance now that they were actually going to go, at least for the preventative screenings. So that was the other piece of that. Okay, now
Mhm.
now you got access. What do you do? What's the
Yeah.
next step? And it was for too many people, it was a ball of confusion. Symbolic, but you don't have that option in Cuba. You have to. It's part of their public health model
Right.
that every citizen will be engaged and have access to the health system.
Yes, yes.
And by the way, with the blockade, I know that's a political term,
Mhm.
even with having so little, Cuba is at the top, is one of those countries that's out at the top with very good health outcomes that even rival, some of the top westernized countries.
Right. So, and it shows you it's not about the money, it's about the approach.
It's about the approach.
Yep. And
It's about the approach.
I saw this in El Salvador, you know. I went to
Hmm.
El Salvador 2 years ago or a year
Hmm.
and a half ago, when they made, so I went for a different reason. I went because they
I
made,
remember that. You
yeah.
share.
Yeah, 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 and they had their pandemic hospitals, and,
Hmm.
they actually have one main hospital in San Salvador, and so when I went, you needed no, test, and you needed no vaccine, proof of vaccine. I was
Hmm.
like, "Oh, this is very interesting." So you enter the country, you did not need to get those, PCR tests or anything. So you
Hmm.
enter the country, then you come to find out that they took their main hospital, their biggest hospital in the country, and they made that their pandemic hospital. But when I
Hmm.
went, it was empty. The hospital was completely,
Wow.
and this was in the height.
So they did something right.
Yeah, well, let me tell you what they did. Anybody who's a citizen who presented with symptoms
Hmm.
were given a care package for free. And the care package had vitamin D, zinc, ivermectin, and Z-Pack.
Yes.
That's what they had for secondary infections. So
Hmm.
everyone who got sick, the moment you presented with symptoms, you were able to get this package for free.
Right.
But what that did was it kept people out of the hospitals.
Right.
Hospitals were completely empty. There was nothing going on. People were just,
But that made sense. It
yes,
made sense from a national perspective
yeah,
because the burden of managing fiscally, of managing, we're still recovering, aren't we?
yeah. I mean, you know it more than anybody. You know it more than
But we're
anybody.
still dealing with
You
it.
in the
We
trenches.
are, yeah, but we're still dealing with it. We are still dealing with active COVID infections. And I never stopped. In fact, I got the recommendation from you. The D3K2,
Yeah,
the quercetin, the
yes,
zinc. I
yes.
never stopped.
Right,
I never, because I'm still seeing patients.
right, right. And so when you see the patient, so what goes on for you when you see the patients and you know a different method than what the hospital may recommend? I mean, how are you able to maneuver around that or maneuver with that?
So in conversation, I just say, you want to protect your immune system. You should be on things that protect your immune system.
Right,
You might want to get some zinc.
right,
Have you heard of the D3K2?
right,
You can go to
right,
this health food store. So I just put it into the conversation.
right, right,
And, in my documentation, I may say something to protecting the immune system without necessarily putting in the specifics of what
right,
I told, what I said.
right,
But
right,
I'm always, but that's part of my normal conversation, even when I'm not talking to patients
right,
about people being on immune boosters.
right.
Um, and D3K2 is at the top of that.
Yeah,
And zinc,
absolutely.
of course,
Yep,
those two especially.
yep.
When I come across people who are more at more or higher risk because of respiratory challenges pre-existing, then I may say to them, you might want to keep on hand the NAC, the
Hmm.
acetylcysteine, for mucus and things of
Right.
that nature. So it's so.
Yeah, I think it broke up for a second there. What was the last thing you said there?
I said it's so much a part of what I do that to speak of that is part of my normal conversation.
Excellent, excellent. So what I've done is, I think this might be a nice follow-up conversation for us. Um,
Hmm.
so, recently I've written a book on my experience with eradicating cancer.
Hmm.
Cancer is actually caused by intracellular parasites and how we've been getting results. Like, what I mean by results, not remission, but like NED diagnosis, no evidence of disease, right? With that, there's been a lot of outpouring for people to be, get their hands on the protocol and all of that. And what we found is that, and you know this as well, you can have a protocol, but the question is getting people to actually do it in terms of compliance, right? Are
Right.
they going to take their vitamin D? Are they
Right.
going to stop eating donuts? Are they going to, you know what I mean? And so, we put together this Herbal Results Health Accountability Community. In the
Hmm.
community, I think you'll find this interesting, and I think I'm going to tap in with you at a later date and we can talk this out more. But what it is that the community is a community where you have people who are sick and then you have, so it has 3 levels of people: people who are sick, people who used to be sick with a particular illness and are no
Mhm.
longer sick with that illness, and then people who are healthcare practitioners who actually care
Mhm.
about people like you.
Yes.
So what would
Mhm.
happen is that, say, for instance, someone's been diagnosed with cancer. Well, what we know is that when someone's diagnosed with cancer, it's a very scary diagnosis.
Absolutely.
It creates a lot of psychological trauma, and,
Mhm.
what that person needs is, that person needs some hope, and they need a
Yeah.
holistic understanding of what they're gonna be going through, and
Mhm.
also knowing that there are other people who have gotten the same diagnosis who have defeated it,
Mhm.
because it gives them inspiration to keep fighting. So
Mhm.
what I put together was, it's like a membership, a monthly membership, where,
Mhm.
let's say you were diagnosed with cancer, any type of cancer, because we deal with cancer from the root cause, and so the type of cancer doesn't matter. So
Right.
you get diagnosed with cancer, you join the group, and you become part of a cohort. So let's just say
Mhm.
you have autoimmune illness like lupus, or you have multiple sclerosis or Crohn's disease or whatever.
Mhm.
In that cohort, and in that cohort, there's someone who's reversed their cancer, and then you have a healthcare practitioner like you, who
Mhm.
basically is their accountability partner. So what
Mhm.
you do is you would, have, like, weekly meetings with them on Zoom,
Mhm.
check up on them. Are you doing your, your intermittent fasting? Are you staying away from
That's wonderful. That's
carbohydrates?
wonderful.
Are you, you know what I'm saying? It's just almost like
Yes,
having a workout
it's
partner.
support. It's
Exactly,
support in real time. And so
exactly.
I'm so glad I got excited when you said that.
Yeah, yeah, but here's the side of it though. Um, you get paid because
Well, that's good too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So what I'm looking to do is, I'm looking to bring in healthcare practitioners, people just like you, who've been doing
Mhm.
it, and you understand the allopathic thing, you understand the holistic thing, and you're able to understand what the person would be going through, and to be able to guide them through. But then you also have someone in that leadership circle who is a cancer, someone who has defeated cancer. And so
Mhm.
now that person who has been diagnosed with cancer has 2 leaders, somebody who is similarly situated, who got on the other side of it and defeated it,
Right.
and then someone who's a practitioner like you.
Mhm.
The 2 are the leaders, and then we'll have another weekly group meeting for the whole group, for people who
Mhm.
have high blood pressure, diabetes, and what happens is that every week there's a different lecture, a different,
Mhm.
presentation by somebody who knows what they're talking about when it comes to.
Right.
So what happens now is that if you have a monthly, because I looked at the numbers, and because someone would be in this group, they'll be saving money in the food that they're buying, because most of the food you're buying is junk, you're wasting money on food, you're eating too much, and your pharmaceuticals.
We do eat too much. We eat
Yeah,
too
yeah.
much.
Yeah, so I did the numbers, and most people who are sick, they are spending more than $200 a month on their sickness, much more than
Yes.
that. So what
At
I'm
the
saying,
least.
yeah,
That's low.
yeah,
That's low.
that's low. So what I'm saying is that you can join the community for, as someone who's sick, for $200 a month, and it's gonna
Mhm.
save you more than $200 a month. And then within probably 3 months, your problem will be corrected. But what it does is, it allows, so imagine we have 1,000 people that are a member of the community, and they're all paying $200 a month. That's
Right.
$200,000 a month. Well, with that $200,000
Right.
a month, I can pay all the leaders of the cohorts. So if you're the leader of
Right.
the cancer cohort, you can get broken off something 5,000 a month, or 6,000 a
Right.
month, or 10,000 a month, whatever the number is that works.
And have good health outcomes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, but you as the practitioner
I get that
would
piece.
be able, and you would have no overhead.
Right. I get that piece.
You see what I'm
But
saying?
yeah, I get that. Yes. But we're vested in good outcomes. We
Yes,
want the outcome.
exactly. You'll get good outcomes, but guess what happened now? The person who reversed their cancer is getting paid too as a leader.
Oh,
So guess what that means now? What that also means is that the person, and I don't know if you're still there because it looks like it froze up, but it also means
yes,
the
I'm
person,
here.
that means that the person who had cancer, or who has cancer, is now not only incentivized to heal themselves for their health, but to
Right.
heal themselves, they can get paid as a leader too.
That's awesome.
So now they have a job waiting for them if they can heal their illness, because now they're an
Mhm.
example, and a point of inspiration for other people who might be going
Right.
through whatever they're going through. So it's like this
Mhm.
simple thing. Then within time, we can get enough money to build our own hospitals
Right.
around the world. So
Wow.
that's the model that I have, and it's up and running right now. So for someone like you, definitely I would love to invite you to be part of it as we flesh things out more. But
Absolutely.
I think you could be a
Absolutely.
great resource. Just your
Yes, I
spirit.
think
I
so
just I
too.
just I just love your spirit. So it's like
Oh,
I
thank
would just
you.
love to be able to work with you, you know what I'm saying? And to
Yeah,
make
but
sure that you're being compensated.
you're doing some awesome things, But I got real excited when you mentioned the network that you're building, because I did my doctoral work was with people with type 2 diabetes,
Mm,
and that is exactly what I did. I set up a support program where people knew, well, they were taught about different foods, how to prepare them, exercise. There still was that medication piece, but they had the ongoing support, and that ongoing support, the data showed that it improved their quality of life, and hence the outcomes, the overall health
absolutely.
outcomes. So that's why I was so excited about that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, great minds think alike. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Yes,
yeah, no one's gonna save us but us. That's the bottom line. That no one's
right.
gonna save us but us, and you know it. I mean, you're in the healthcare community, and I've always said it. It sounds like a joke, but it's beyond funny because it's tragic. But
Hmm.
anytime you are a black woman and you go to the medical system, they're looking to just give you a hysterectomy for the smallest thing. You can walk in with a headache. They say, "Oh, maybe you should get a hysterectomy." You can walk in, your fingernails got cracked, and, "Oh, we give you a hysterectomy," you go in with a toothache, they wanna give you a hysterectomy. So
I'm gonna go back to the health literacy and the individual engaging in the self. You know, I can't tell you the times that I have had the most frustrating conversations with women about managing women's issues. I can't tell you the times I this thing like with elective C-sections. You
mhm,
know, it's like what are you thinking? That is a very it's a very real area. This is a source of frustration for me when it comes to women's health because we simply don't know our bodies anymore, and you know that's such a basic requirement of just being living in these bodies that we live in, just to know your body. I'm not even talking about being in tune with the self. Just know your body, basic things. But we're not there. We are not there. We're so far removed. So there's that disjointedness again. How
mhm,
everything is just so disconnected.
right,
But I agree with you fully. The you spotting hysterectomy.
right. Smallest thing, hysterectomy. You know what I mean? Shoulder ache, hysterectomy. Like, they don't these people are crazy. They're absolutely crazy. They are crazy, And what it is, is population control. And we know what it is. We know what the history is in terms of, you know, the Western Hemisphere and the medical history. Anyone's really interested and doesn't believe in anything that we're saying, just go get a book, Medical Apartheid, and
Right.
read that
Right.
book, Medical Apartheid, and you'll understand that we're actually being very, very light in what we're saying. Like,
Yes.
you read the book, then you understand how dire the situation is,
Hmm.
because
There's
people don't have
another
the
book I want to
context
say.
for
It's
it.
called Medicine.
Yes, medicine,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
so
information is there. The information is there.
yeah, the information's there, so, yeah, there's nothing more important in your health. Anyone knows that, when you're sick, you think about the days when you were healthy, and you want those days
Right.
back, and
Right.
there's no amount of money that people would exchange for their health. So
That's absolutely right. Absolutely right. I'm so glad you said that. That old debate. Oh, that old adage of, oh, you got to die from something. And I would say to people, I've never heard anybody on a dialysis machine say, oh, I had to die from something.
right,
No, they want their health
they
restored.
want their health restored. They want their health restored, and they'll do anything for it. Um,
That's right.
they'll do anything for it, but sometimes they won't do everything for it. You
Not
know what I'm saying?
everything.
Right? Which means,
Yes.
like, actually stop eating those donuts. Stop eating, stop eating that
All the
pound cake.
processed foods.
Yeah, all
All,
the
no,
processed
all
food.
the food items. The
Yes.
food items.
Yep.
But when you live in a food desert, you got a Dollar Tree or a General on every block with the
Yeah.
food items and
Yeah.
not the fresh foods.
Not the fresh foods, right?
Yes.
Yep. So, we're gonna work on that. We got some farm solutions for that too. But,
Yes.
I just wanna thank you.
Thank you.
I wanna thank you for making yourself available, not just to me in this interview, but it seems as if you're really making a difference in the community that you're serving,
I
in
try.
Georgia, and, you're spreading the good word of alternatives that they can. I know that you're limited in terms of the allopathic, regime that
Hmm.
many are forced to undertake as licensed, practitioners, but at the same
Right.
you're giving
That's
people.
key.
Mhm.
Licensed.
Yep. Yep,
Right.
I understand.
And
I
so
know
you're so
exactly how it
you're
works.
held. You're
Yep,
held to within a certain framework
yep,
and a certain standard. Yes.
yep, and that
That's
is.
key.
Yep, and that's brought to you compliments of the pharmaceutical and insurance companies. And, we know that it's not about necessarily healing people, it's about making money. And they have, investors that they have to pay back, and that is the driving force of what they do. But at the same time, we are smart enough to realize that we're not living for them, we're living for ourselves.
You
And
live for
whenever
yourself.
we have and when we have and we're living for our families, and whenever we have an opportunity within their framework to give people alternatives, we give them the alternatives that we can within the context that we can do it. And I can see that you're doing exactly just that. And it's based on the
Mhm.
fact that you're seeing results. You literally are practicing evidence-based medicine, because when you take the herbal results olive leaf extract, you have the evidence based on the numbers. Your numbers drop
Right.
down. So
Right.
what more evidence is that, right? So,
Right. And it's been consistent. Consistent.
Right.
It's not like,
It's not a fluke.
one and done, or
Right.
maybe not. No. It's been consistent. It's consistent.
Yep. So,
Yes.
I just want to salute you for what you're doing. It's a pleasure to meet you. Sometimes we meet each other online and we never meet each other and hear each other's voices, whatever. We've gotten away from really the basics of the human touch and the human voice and the humanity. So I'm just glad that we were able to connect, face to face, even though that this is virtual.
Yes.
It's just good to know. So when you
Yes.
respond to any text or any messages that I put online, I know who's responding. I know what your voice sounds like. I know your spirit and all of that. So it's been like, to me, it's been
Mhm.
a pleasure talking to you, and it's also been like emotionally moving to know that the products that we put together on at Herbal Results has made a difference in your life.
Yes, they have. Yes. I thank you so much
Thank you.
for the opportunity to speak with you directly. Thank you.
No problem. And I know you need to get something to drink right now for that cough. But no, thank you. Thank you so much. And if people wanted to get in touch with you I don't know what type of practice you have, but if people want to get in touch with you, particularly they're in the Georgia area and they wanted to get more information from you or about you, is there a way that people can get in touch with you?
I'll send you my email address.
Okay. So we
I'll
put your
send it to you
email.
directly.
Yeah. Okay. And then, because people may be in the medical system in Georgia somewhere, they might want some information on how they can navigate. And I think you might be one of the people who
Okay.
could lead them, in the
Yeah,
right
I'll send
place.
my invitation. Yeah. I'll send my information to you so you'll have.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. This is another episode with Herbal Results and also the podcast. And hopefully this has been informative and inspirational to everyone listening. And we'll just sign out and just say peace and blessings to everybody. Thank you, Doc,
Thank
for
you so
coming
much.
on. All right.
And you keep up the wonderful, impactful work that you do.
I will, definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good day.
You too.
All right.
All right. So hopefully you all enjoyed that. That was
Much
live
so.
and direct, you know?
Yes, very informative.
Right. And in keeping with the theme of what we were talking in that video, I'd like to share this with you all to understand what we're dealing with. This is from MSN, and you can just look it up. Anyone can just go on Google and just look up an article. You can just type in Goldman Sachs curing patients, right? And so what happened was that Goldman Sachs, which is a big investment bank, you've heard of their name. They did a report on the medical industry. Basically, in the report, they came out with that. They just said curing people from diseases is actually an unsustainable business model. I want you all to just like really understand what I just said. Goldman Sachs, and they say it blatantly. Like if you just look deep, like if you just have your eyes tuned in well enough, they'll tell you everything because they don't have a shame in saying what they really feel. If you follow the right places, they're going to tell you because a lot of times you think that they're confessing. They're not confessing, they're bragging. This is what you need to understand. So here goes Goldman Sachs. Here we go. So none of this is conspiracy theory. Red pill, can you see this?
Yes.
This is from MSN. Okay? This is not Haru's network. This is MSN, Microsoft Network. Goldman Sachs warned curing patients isn't a sustainable business model in 2018. 8 years later, biotech is quietly proving the bank right. Okay? They're literally saying, and anyone could just look at this, and there's articles. Look at the articles that you see when you put in Goldman Sachs curing patients. You'll see the same. Goldman Sachs asks, is curing patients a sustainable business model? This is from CNBC. Okay, so when we're talking, what we're saying, and YouTube is trying to take this down and what have you, none of what we're saying is outside of the realms of what they are saying themselves. They literally are telling you that curing you of a disease is not a sustainable business model. They can't make the money that they want to make. Look at these articles. They're all up. Is curing patients a sustainable business model? Ask Goldman Sachs. Okay? Is curing bad for business? It's official. Curing patients is bad for business. You all see this?
It's crazy.
Okay. So if you're looking for these people to solve your problems, they will not be solving problems for you.
They're not in the business of that.
No, that's not literally. You said it perfectly. That's not their business model. Okay? So it is up to you now to do your due diligence, people. We do this show every week. Every week we show you this information and we show you ways to solve your own problems. We do it in health on Mondays, we do it with wealth on Wednesdays. And we're giving you the tools to do this. But we're also giving you receipts. So that anything that we say that sounds crazy to you all, I'm going to give you receipts. And so all you got to do is just put in Goldman Sachs curing patients. And you'll see all the articles that come up with Goldman Sachs literally saying that it is outside of the business model of the healthcare system to cure you. Okay? Like, it's there. And we try to tell you, but I'm just going to let them speak for themselves. And all my lectures I do, all my presentations I do, very little is commentary that I'm making. I'm just reading to you what they're saying in their studies and in their own articles. Okay? It's all over the place. It is all over the place. And they don't even, like I said, they don't even try to hide it because they don't have to, because they know that you're still going to go to them. Because what they've done through the educational system and through the media system is taught you learned helplessness. So that you feel like you have to farm out your health to a group of people in an industry that has no incentive on curing you. Okay? It's bad for business, according to them. I want you to really pay attention to that. Show this to your family. Show this. This is why I do what I do in my lectures. That's why, when I talk about what we talk about, maybe 1% of the time I talk about the products. 90% of the time I'm talking about the pharmaceuticals you're taking, how to research them and the side effects. I'm teaching you how to actually look at health from a first principles point of view. And then the products then become irrelevant. The reason why it becomes irrelevant is because once you understand the mechanism of action to why you're sick, you can start. It doesn't matter what part of the world that you're in. You just have to find out what herbs do what, right? It just turns out that if you can get herbal results olive leaf extract, you're going to get quicker results because it's just so potent. But let's just say you can't get olive leaf extract somewhere. You know what I mean? And you're somewhere in the world you can't get it. Well, you need to know in the environment, what are my anti-inflammatory herbs in my environment? Then the next thing you're going to ask is, what is the solubility of these herbs? Is it water soluble or is it oil soluble, fat soluble? Then you can start preparing the herb yourself. This is how you end up becoming a useful, productive human being who is not trapped into helplessness. Because what has happened is that the educational system does not teach you how to heal yourself, and it does not teach you how to set up business. It does not really teach you how to run a business. It does not teach you how to invest. It does not teach you how to read charts. It does not teach you how to solve your own problems, which are the most important problems. And the two most important problems that human beings have is health and wealth. So you notice that the educational system is completely silent or backwards on those two issues. That means it is incumbent upon you to be able to be the person in your family who turns all of that around so that the issue of health becomes something that you can solve and the issue of wealth becomes something that you can solve because now you have the tools to think about it the proper way. And people will be surprised. Like, once you give a person the tools to think about a problem and to solve it, you'll see how efficient they are in solving the problem. And I'm going to end with this. Your lack of knowledge is expensive. And I'm gonna break it down, and this is gonna segue into Wednesday's show. So Wednesday, we do the health, we do the wealth part. And by the way, those people who are investing in the Ghanaian stocks of Clydestone, you're able to buy stock today. You haven't been able to buy stock, thanks to Kai Wilson. She reached out to the CEO. He said Monday it'd be available, and I was up at 6 a.m. when the market opened, and I bought some more Clydestone stock. And now I'm up I think I'm up like 70%. But anyway, um, I'm gonna end with this story. And this is a story about Elon Musk. And I need you all to just don't worry that it's Elon Musk, because I know a lot of y'all, don't like him. And I mean, there's good reason not to like him, right? But he's doing some things that's important to pay attention. So, some years ago, he wanted to start a rocket company. So what did he do? He went to countries where they had rockets that they weren't using. So what happened was is the old Soviet Union had disassembled, right? The USSR had disassembled, and you had these different countries, Russia and blah, blah, blah. So they had a lot of like missiles and weapons and rockets that were just out of commission. So Elon Musk flies on his plane with his people or his company, and he attempts to buy rockets from Russia. The Russian government gives him a runaround, and they mark up the price of the rockets tremendously. So they even agreed on a price, and then the Russians like reneged on him, and he was very upset. On his flight back from Russia to America, he's on the plane with his engineers, and he asked them a question. I need you all to listen very carefully. This is what you call first principles thinking. He said, they gave us a price for these rockets. I know it's overpriced. I need you all as the engineers to find out all of the pieces to make a rocket and how much it would cost us to make our own rockets instead of buying it from people. Guess what he found out? He found out that I think the Russians were trying to sell him like one rocket for like $100 million or something like that. But he found out, I think it was like $200 million they're trying to sell him a rocket for. But he found out that all of the parts necessary to make the rocket cost about $2 million. Okay? So he realized that they could literally get all the parts and put them together and make the rocket for $2 million, as opposed to paying $200 million for an already made rocket that they were going to mark up. So what did they do? They found out how all the parts to make a rocket and built their own rockets and even improved upon it. And this is what we're doing in Patah Set anyway. But check this out. This is the important part, and I need you all to listen carefully. What Elon Musk said was this. You see, the price was $200 million that they were going to buy the rocket from someone else, but it was $2 million to make it yourself. So the difference is $198 million, right?
Right.
Okay. Do you know what he calls that difference? He calls that $198 million gap. He calls that the idiot tax. I want y'all to listen carefully. The idiot tax is what you have to pay for your lack of knowledge.
Right.
So because they at the time did not know how to make a rocket from scratch, they would have to pay $198 million more, which is an idiot tax.
Right.
So why am I saying what I'm saying? What I'm saying is that every time you're going to the hospital or doctors and you cannot solve your own problem because you haven't taken the time to learn about your problem and reverse your problem, you're going to end up paying an idiot tax. Everything that we pay for that we do not make ourselves, you're paying an idiot tax because you don't know how to make it. And because you don't know how to make it, you're being penalized. You're being penalized literally 10. What was the difference? 100x. 2 million to 200 million is 100x. So 100x is the idiot tax. But if you are able to learn how to do things for yourself and solve your own problems, you are no longer a victim of the idiot tax. So, myself, I haven't been to a doctor in how many years? I'll go get my own tests and I'll pay cents on the dollar for it because I'm not going to pay an idiot tax. Okay? I make things on my own. Like the things I do, I make on my own because I'm not going to pay an idiot tax. It's either an idiot tax or a lazy tax. But to be lazy would be to be an idiot if you want to pay 10 times to 100 times more for the same thing that you could actually solve the problem on your own. But because you don't want to take time to learn how to solve the problem, other people will solve your problem for you and have you pay an idiot tax. Okay? This is very important for people to understand these concepts. We don't have these conversations enough. So people are just moving through the world willy-nilly. And everything that you're doing, everything that you're buying, understand that you're paying an idiot tax. For something as simple as pizza from Domino's, you could make the same pizza at home if you just learn how to make it. But because you don't want to learn how to make it, you're going to pay an idiot tax or the lazy tax. So this is real, particularly if you don't have what you call excess income. Now there's times where you'll pay for something just for to save your time, but you shouldn't be paying for something because you don't know how to do it. Not in the information age. You should only be paying for something because you don't want to spend your time doing it, because you could use your time in a better way. This is what wealthy people do. They'll pay other people to do things for them because the time that they're spending booking a ticket or going to the grocery store, they could be spending making money doing something else. So they'll rather pay someone to do something for them so that they don't have to basically have their time cannibalized. Okay, so this is what wealthy people do. But what poor people do is we end up paying an idiot tax for everything because the educational system never teaches us how to thrive and to solve our own problems. So we become dependents and self-helplessness is taught to us. Other words, don't start a business, become an employee, right? This is what the schools teach you. That's why, the most important thing they do is they teach you how to write a resume. But they don't teach you how to write a business plan. They don't teach you how to invest. They don't. And the reason why I know this is because I have friends with MBAs who call me asking me, how do I invest? And I'm like, you got an MBA. They didn't teach you in MBA school? Nope. Like literally. Okay. So and I've got doctors calling me with all types of sicknesses. And I'm like, they didn't teach you how to reverse your high blood pressure in medical school? Nope. They just taught us to take pills that is causing other problems. And so understand that everything that you do, the system is waiting to charge you an idiot tax. That's real. And so your wealth and your health is going to increase by the least amount of idiot taxes that you force yourself to pay. And listen to how I said it, force yourself to pay. Listen to the example of Elon Musk. He had engineers who up until then had never been asked to put together a rocket. But when he asked them, they actually had the knowledge to do it, but it never occurred to do it. It never occurred that, oh, we're going to buy a rocket. That's what the first thing was, we're going to be a consumer. But then when he got rejected, he said, man, we could make our own rockets, can't we? Aren't we engineers? Don't we know like all the pieces involved? Yeah, so why don't we make our own rockets? And the cost was $2 million. Okay, so this is real, man. I just need people to understand that everywhere you turn in this world, you are being charged an idiot tax. And your job is to lessen the amount of idiot taxes that you are being charged with and hold that money to yourself. That's the difference between paying $2 million to have a rocket and $200 million to purchase a rocket from someone else. And that $198 million profit is the idiot tax. Okay, so we're closing out today. Wednesday, we'll be coming on strong. I'll be very happy to show you what the Forex charts are looking like. Um, the trades that we got into are beautiful. The people who are following me on Heru Trades, I'm sure you're very happy. The stocks that we picked are doing quite well. And so we're going to cover that on Wednesday. So tune in. We'll also go over Ofori-Atta with the smartphone reverse engineering program that we'll be doing. I'll give you all update on that, but the website is up and running just fine, and you're able to register for the course. The first part is to pay for the materials, the phone, and the tools to take apart the phone. That's a package, and then to also pay for the course. So there's a two-part process there. Those of you all who've contacted me, you get a new newsletter this week. For those who wanted to be interested, who are interested in the program that we're doing. But you can also go to Ofori-Atta.church, read about what we're doing. Basically, Ofori-Atta.church is helping you to eliminate the idiot tax because it's showing us how to make everything ourselves, right? And I will just share the website with you all because I've been getting hit up by people asking about it. And so this is the website that you want to go to, and I'm going to share that here. Okay, just Ofori-Atta.church. This is going to be the reverse engineering of the smartphone for you and your family. Your children should be learning how to do this. We'll be moving to 3D printing after that. Then we'll be doing robotics and AI robotics after that as well. So this is what we're doing, y'all, and this is where we're at. This is a solution-based platform, and we're here to give you receipts on everything that we talk about. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have Brother Red Pill have the last word. Red Pill, feel free to tell us about anything you got going on. If you got a show this evening, people need to tune in to all of that. And then, we'll see everyone on Wednesday. But please take the last word, Red Pill.
Yes, Melanin Mondays tonight on Know the Ledger 444 and Know the Ledge, the YouTube channels, and also on our Facebook platforms as well. Melanin Mondays, that is 8 p.m. Eastern. And we have some events coming up. We have Patreon exclusive at the end of this month. We're going to be bringing our good brother Ross Ben to talk about the prediction markets and also his predictions for the rest of 2026, because he's very, very precise in calling out things that were going to happen in the first 6 months of 2026. So we're going to follow it up so the brother could give some insight based off of the precession of the equinox and the movement of the stars. We also have September 13th, an album release party in Atlanta, for the Voltron Volume 1. I welcome everybody to come out. That's going to be very powerful, very powerful. That whole strong end. We have a Stone Mountain climb. We have a block party in the West End. We have an album listening, and we have a writer's camp as well. We'll be working on Volume 2 for all of my artists and artisans, producers, and singers that are out there. Tap in with us and be a part of this movement. So yes, with that being said, I want to say thank you for your time. Thank you everybody for showing up on this early show and tapping in with us. Shout out to everybody on the replay. Leave some comments. Be interactive in the comment section. And any questions, comments, and concerns, make sure that you leave them. Peace, love, and light. See you Wednesday.
All right. And we end with the website because people are texting me, what's the website? herbalresults.net. You can watch the testimonials there. You can order the products there. You can look at the scientific studies there as well. herbalresults.net. Bless up, everyone. See you all on Wednesday.